The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to Embrace Your Power. Tonight I have a special guest, Robert Clancy. He is an amazing person. He is an author, spiritual teacher, and co-founder of Spiral Design Studios. He created this amazing Facebook page, fan page called Guide to the Soul. And he has over 650,000 people worldwide following him. He's a sought-after speaker, presenter, and guest. And welcome to my show, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you. You know, for people who don't know anything about you, can you give everyone a little background on you and how you got started, what you do, and you know, just a little, so everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm a logic person. I describe myself as a ones and zeros guy who knows the X's and O's, and I'm probably one of the most logical people you're going to meet. But I also had this divine experience at age 19 during my first meditation experience, and it really, you know, I'm connected to everything in the universe and understand and see all of that. So I have my logic side and then my spiritual side. I just decided to take a journey of teaching kindness and really the power of what that is. And I also run a marketing firm. I have my own martial arts school as well, so I'm a 5th degree black belt in Chun Tu Kwan, or combat Hapkido, and I teach twice a week. I have a group of students there, so I'm involved in a lot of different things, and I just enjoy all the different aspects of life.
Wow, that's so great. Now, you know, what for people who, you know, there are some people out there who have had experiences like you, and I've had one of those myself. So, can you tell us a little bit about the experience that you had when you were 19?
Yeah, it was. I was at the lowest point of my life, and like I said, I'm a very logical person, but you know, there were just things out of my control, and I was a straight A student up to this point in college, and I had several friends commit suicide and lost other friends to these horrible car accidents. And my mother was having a nervous breakdown at the time. My father was drinking, and just everything fell apart. And then my girlfriend, the last thing I had holding everything together, I found out there were things going on. And then we broke up, and I was absolutely just lost, devastated, just didn't want to feel anything anymore. And so I really went off the rails. I was getting in cars with people who were drunk. I was mixing prescription drugs and alcohol. I just didn't really want to have any kind of feeling at all. And no one knew I was struggling. So at the restaurant I worked in, the waitress there pulled me aside one night and gave me that 50-yard stare and said, "I know what you're doing and you need to stop, or you're going to kill yourself." And then she said, "Put your hand out." And so put my hand out, and she put this pamphlet in it, and it was a pamphlet on how to meditate. Said, "I want you to go home and do this. I don't want to see you in the bars tonight. Just go home. You learn how to do this." So I got home, and it was about midnight. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, read the pamphlet. Like I said, I'm a tech person, so I followed all the instructions. But before I started, I said, "If there's a God, I need to see something tonight or I'm done."
Wow.
And I also said, "If you exist, I need help." And I started the meditation, and I was about 3 hours in, and I was stopped by this light, and I thought, you know, it was shining on my wall, and then I thought, well, this was a waste of time. And I went and moved my curtain, but I couldn't break the beam of the light, and I realized the light was not shining on the wall, but coming from it. And I sat there, and I kept closing my eyes and opening because I could see the light either way. And then it just unfolded like a butterfly does into an angel, and then it came through into the room. And I know what I saw. I know what happened to me. And this entity, it was like ghost-like or translucent in some way, but made out of light, so it was illuminating the room. And she went nose to nose with me. I actually backed up and went cross-eyed for a moment. And then she touched me in the forehead after a certain amount of time that she was there. And I was plugged into everything. And I've never been unplugged from that. It's like being plugged into the internet and getting all the good things for your entire life since then. The kicker is I didn't tell anyone really until 2012. So this was something I've had and known of for 30 years. I told my father in 2012 the night my mother was going to pass away, and I knew she was going to cross over at about 2:30 in the morning on Mother's Day because I was given that.
Wow.
And I told him, and I just told you is what I told him that night. Then I decided I can't really take this to the grave with me. I need to live my truth. This is what happened, and like I said, I'm a logical person, so I know I was not hallucinating. People ask me, are you sure you weren't dreaming or hallucinating or that? I wish I was. I'd have an explanation, but I was given information, and I told a few people along the way, but those people have crossed over. They were very close to their death, and I wanted them to be at peace, so I told them.
So incredible. You know, I just got goosebumps as you were telling me that. You know, I'm sure that people, you know, were able to see you and see that you were a different person.
Yeah, it was, you know, I went to bed smiling that night, and I kept waking up, and I never stopped smiling since then. And then, I don't know what happened, but December 1st, 2012, I woke up with this new clarity that day. It was almost like the rest of the veil lifted. I had been inspired and received, you know, words or different things, but it's on December 1st, 2012, it was almost like God's math is on everything I see. I can look at a flower and be inspired, and words will just come to me, or I will have, you know, I passed a billboard and it said, "Peace of mind is a beautiful thing," which is a great quote. And the words just rearranged instantly for me. And the words I got were, peace of mind may be a beautiful thing, but peace of heart allows you to see the beauty in everything.
Wow, that's incredible.
I looked at, yeah.
I love it.
Just like a fire extinguisher or anything, I tell people, you know, this one all the time too, because somebody challenged me once and they said, well, if everything inspires you, then this fire extinguisher will. And they pulled the word respiratory off of it. And I said, well, it doesn't really work that way, but go ahead. And they said, okay, respiratory. And I said, all right, you'll never have respiratory issues when the air is filled with love. Just breathe and enjoy life. They said, wow, you did that under pressure, and that's another word on the fire extinguisher. And I said, pressure, when you feel the weight of the world upon you, you know that love holds up anything as long as your faith does too.
That's beautiful.
They kind of looked at me funny, and then they said, you just did that on the fly. And I said, fly, spread your wings with love, and life is always a smoother sail. And then they said, okay, you're freaking me out. I'm good. I trust you. And I know that I don't know what's going on, but that's crazy. And I said, yeah, I'm right there with you because I'm still me inside here, but there's another voice, and it gives me those words, and they're always beautiful. Everything is always related to faith, love, hope, peace, kindness, giving. And I've also found that faith, love, and hope, there's no synonyms for those three words. And it makes a pyramid. And it's the math is there.
That's incredible. It's so beautiful. You know, there's, you know, that's the incredible thing that, you know, that for me, I've experienced so much love from, you know, different experiences that I have. Every experience that I've ever had, any spiritual experience I've ever had has been so full of love. And, you know, there's so much love around us. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I think in metaphors, and I see pictures of almost everything. So when you say that, I see love as the thread that holds the very fabric of the universe together. And anytime I hear that word, and the beautiful thing about it, as I said, it has no synonyms.
No.
And love is such a simple word, that means simply everything. And it's everything that we're connected to. It's the light. And I came up with these words I was in San Diego. I was at this conference, and all of a sudden I just saw the words, light is the only other thing in the universe that also travels at the speed of love. And it kind of really took me a minute to think about that one. And I thought, yeah, it's light, a beat of light is the only thing that's constant and goes through, and it reaches every corner of the universe. And so does love.
That's so beautiful. Wow. No, so these are all things that you post on your Facebook page, right? That you have?
Yeah, I just I wake up in the morning. I usually have words just sitting there in my mind, and I did an experiment where I wrote words every day for 4 years. Every single day I woke up, and I write them now as they come in, and I try not to force anything. And yesterday I wrote 9 rules of spiritual discipline. So I've got these for the next 9 days. I'm posting one of these rules, but they're very interesting, to say the least. And I call them my downloads. I'm a programmer, so I feel like I'm downloading things on a hard drive, but they're going on my brain.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Now, it's what's so incredible, Robert, is that that you're open vessel for this, because some people could be afraid of it and not want to share it with the world. But you've decided to become this open vessel to be able to share this beautiful, amazing thing that's happening to you, and it's for people, to help people.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, living the truth, and it's always been there. And how I did it up until this point of just watching. I watched people. I mean, when you have an experience like that, the first thing I said to myself after it was over, I went to the mirror to look into my own eyes, and I said, you're going to have to live with knowing now for the rest of your life. And maybe some people will believe you, some won't, but you know the truth now, and you're going to have to live with that. And now you know how long your life is, because I was shown my whole life.
Incredible. To be shown that, and I sense. I can't even know how to say this in words. I sense so much love coming from your voice alone. It's touching me, and I've never had this experience before, but I feel like crying.
Yeah, that happens. I had somebody come to me, and they said, sometimes when you speak, people just begin to cry. And they said, I'm very happy right now, so go ahead. And I said these words to this woman, and tears started going down her cheeks. She said, oh my God, how did you know that? And I said, because you needed to hear it, because they showed me what you needed to hear.
It's so beautiful. I haven't had this happen to me in so long. I'm just moved to tears. And I was speechless. It's beautiful, I'm just blown away by this whole experience that I'm having right now on the radio with you.
Well, I feel it too, and I look at it this way: love is just completely boundless, and the way I've tried to live is to not place limits on my own heart, because it really doesn't have any, and none of our hearts do. And the heart is a metaphor for that love that we see within ourselves. So light is within, so that you'll never be without. And that's just how the whole thing works. It's understanding that you have self-love first to be able to share that with everyone else. And the self-love is actually your soul. And within you, we're raised to, when you're born, they say little Sally and little Johnny say, hey, guess what? You have a soul inside you. And, that's there. And the model that I have is we're not humans with souls. We're souls surrounded in humanity. and we're having a human experience, not the other way around.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I had an experience before. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, where I walked into a room and I didn't see the flesh of people. I was seeing their souls. Like, it was an incredible experience where it kind of freaked me out at first, because I was like, what is going on here? And I was able to see, some people were really, full of so much light, and other people weren't. And it was a little scary because I wasn't expecting it to happen. But has that ever happened to you?
I don't really see it like that, but I have had experiences where I just feel the light of everyone in the room, or a lot of times I feel the things that they're going through.
Yeah.
And I can see them, and they're almost like a slideshow. It's like, I know when that's happening. It's when you trust your gut and you feel something, it's like trying to tune in an old radio where you're just kind of off the frequency a little bit, but you can pick up some of the words. I see that in pictures like that, but it's gotten a little clearer in recent months. But it's the only way I can describe it is it's like a blurry Polaroid picture, but I have enough of the information. And sometimes I have words that are so strong, and I don't know what they mean. And I'll walk up to people, sometimes even strangers, and I'll say, this might sound really strange, but does this mean anything to you? And I'll say something, and they'll have this dumbfounded look on their face, and they'll say, this one woman said, I've had this question for 4 years, and you just gave me the answer that I've been looking for. And then she started crying.
That's incredible. Do you think, like, obviously everyone has gifts, and what you experienced, opened up you as a vessel. And do you find that the more when you first started having this experience, the more that you used it, the more you fine-tuned it?
Yeah, it's like practice. Think of music. When you're playing an instrument, you learn the notes, you learn the chords. You may just have the tones or the sounds when you first start out, and then you start putting it together, and eventually you can play beautiful music if you practice enough. It's almost like that. And when I set out on that journey to write something every day, inspirational, something positive, something to put out in the world, it was not only taught me so much about myself and how many words there are to describe love, because I've written 1,000 plus words, and it's still not answered, because that's how boundless it is. And I just keep putting those things out. So that's what I discovered, is it's that practice. But going through that practice really helped me enter myself and really explore so many different things. And I found I did have something to say. And in fact, what I realized, we all do. Every person on this planet has something to say. You just need to act on it and then do it.
Yeah, that's true. You do, because if you don't act on it, you're never going to do it. And you talked a little bit about self-love. Can you expound a little about that? Because I've dealt with a lot of people who have self-love issues, and maybe because they were the way they were raised or abused or have gone through things. Can you expound a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have some great words that I download in there. I keep a sort of mini Rolodex of some of my favorite ones, and a lot of times on shows I'll talk about these. And I love this metaphor. It's you'll often find people who find fault with the greatest masterwork of art. Therefore, when someone finds fault with you, realize you're one of God's masterworks, and He doesn't make mistakes.
That's beautiful.
And I look at that we're all celestial art. That's the whole point. And realizing what you see in the mirror is not what your family and friends see. They only see this gracious, beautiful soul that you are, and you're your own worst critic. It's kind of funny that we can look in the mirror and not see what everyone else sees.
So true, very true. I actually just said that to somebody the other day. I said, I wish you could see yourself the way I see you because you're so beautiful. And, it's true. It is very true. And
yes.
and do you, is there anything that like you can say to somebody, maybe there's somebody listening right now and they're saying, wow, that's me. Is there anything that you can maybe say to someone to help them to realize that, they need to look at themselves in a different way?
Yeah, it's that you have something there, and the love that you have within you is priceless. There is no price on that. And to understand that that's why you're here, and you're here to create this beauty in the world, and every time that you share your smile, you're creating what you think is a single note on a piece of music, but it's really a symphony that goes on and on in the universe. I have these beautiful words that I downloaded, and when I call downloaded, not from the internet, from the universe.
Yes.
But they're on the internet now, so you can probably find them and download them. But I did put them out there a while ago, and I love this passage. It's, your soul was woven from the stardust of every galaxy in the universe. The love in your heart was spun from that celestial light. Your path in life should be nothing more than a lighted highway back to that sacred place. And that's what we're here for. We're here to walk that lighted path. And when you can share your light, as in your smile with someone, they'll always have a light to find their way home. Because we're all here to connect. All of our souls are connected in the big fabric of space anyway. And when we return to that, we're all part of that one. And we're part of that one when we're here. It's just that we're separated in these vessels to walk that path and try to connect that way.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that you say that about a smile. I just a couple years ago, I was working in New York City, and I was walking down the street, and I saw a lot of people, who were grumpy, and they were, not smiling. And I said, I'm going to do a little, I'm just going to have a little fun, and I'm just going to do a little experiment. I'm going to smile at everyone I meet and say good morning. That simple little thing that I did brought it was an incredible thing that happened. And for the next week, I started tallying making a tally of how many people were smiling back. And I said, my goal is to reach 100 people a day. And, that was the most amazing week of my life. And the responses that I got, obviously I had some people responding me who said, there's nothing good to smile about or something like that. But, people responded to it. And isn't it amazing that a smile can do so much?
Yeah, and everything that we need is answered in nature. It's all around us. And therefore your nature should become love. And if you look at even just the simplest of plant life, or everything that's around outside that's natural, it's all reaching for the light. It's all growing and reaching up. The trees, they open their leaves and gather the light. And I look at the metaphor of a tree almost as if that's your life. And the tree has roots. That's where you came from. And even in bad soil, the tree still has to grow or try to grow. And then you have the branches reaching out. And then eventually, what does the tree do? It bears fruit.
Yeah.
And the fruit drops to the ground, and the cycle starts all over again. That's sort of how life is. And if we look at that, and yeah, some of you, are listening and saying, yeah, well, my tree has some nuts on it. But, well, we all do. Yeah. That's what keeps things interesting out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. If we had a perfect life, we would never grow and learn, and it would be very boring.
Yeah.
and sometimes, you have to go through things so that you can become the person that you're supposed to be. And,
right.
Definitely.
Well, even the sun, it has to shine on dark days, and no matter what, it could be cloudy, raining, or whatever, but that sun is up there. And when you realize in life that when you're going through something, the light is around all the darkness, that darkness doesn't exist without the light. It's not the other way around. That light creates darkness. So if you think about it, I got these words that were, when you're mired in the shadows of despair, there's always a higher light source behind any darkness. You just need to turn around to see it. And I get all the other information behind those words, which is light shining on somebody and they can only see the shadow, but if you just stepped out or turned around, you'll notice that darkness that you're in is created by the light. And that's the way it all works, because ultimately that's the center of everything, is that light.
So beautiful, things you don't think about. It makes you see things from a totally different perspective.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful word, perspective. And I think of everything in every day that I go through, when you can pull yourself and look at it in a different way. And when my mother was diagnosed with cancer, my sister, was very devastated by this news. And my mother was also, it was wearing on her, and physically, this is somebody that smiled almost every day of her life, and now that smile was taken by this diagnosis. And then shortly after that, she was diagnosed with dementia, so she lost her short-term memory. And then again, my sister got, devastated by this, because now the cancer, and now she's going to lose her memory of who we are. Well, here's the perspective. My mother forgot that she had cancer. And so every day that I saw her, she was smiling again. And I know that extended her life. And she never forgot who we were.
That's beautiful.
So there's perspective when you look back on those moments.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, what a gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a gift, absolutely.
So the words I get are, we never see the great picture God paints first, because we're always standing on the canvas. You should also understand that painting is always painted with love. And when you can pull back and look at the whole picture, when it's finally done, it's a beautiful masterpiece.
It's so beautiful. It's incredible to me, because I look at nature and look around me, and I see the amazing masterpiece around us, like all the flowers, the trees. If you look, I don't know, like I'm a detail oriented person, so like if I have I love flowers, and I love to look at them, because there's so many different colors, varieties, and they all have different details, and they're so beautiful and intricate, and they have all these amazing, little nuances. They're all different, and they're so beautiful, and they're masterpieces.
Right. And it's all part of, when I look at a flower, its beauty is only available for everyone when it's fully open. That's another cue from nature that we need to take.
Yes, absolutely. My thing is, I love butterflies, and they mean a lot to me, because I went through a terrible period in my life, and I felt like I was in a cocoon, and it's so beautiful. Here you have this insect that is not the prettiest thing, and then it goes into a cocoon, and it becomes this beautiful butterfly. And
yeah,
incredible.
And it's just, and then it's out there, and it takes flight, and there's a whole bunch of metaphors from that, and just really looking at, and that insect actually transforms, everything. It's a metamorphosis. It doesn't just turn into the butterfly. It literally transforms itself into almost like another thing, and it's the only one of the few creatures on this planet that are able to do that.
Yeah.
So nature provides so many answers and mysteries of that everything is possible. Everything. There's nothing that's not impossible, just that no one's figured out certain things yet. That's the key.
Yeah, so true. And there's, like you said, there's so many examples in nature that if we just look at them, with a tree, a butterfly, the flowers, how they bloom, and there's so many answers that we can get just from being in nature.
Yeah, and I heard a survival guy talk once on one of those shows, and they were talking about people that survived, critical things, being lost in the woods, no food, whatever. And some people didn't make it out. But the ones that did said that, during this harrowing experience they had, they stopped and took in the beauty that was around them. And it gave them the energy they needed to go on. It inspired them. So they stopped and looked at how the leaves were, or the light was breaking through it. And, instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die, they were looking at the beauty of everything.
Incredible, because it's true. I mean, once you take the focus off of yourself and recognize what's around you, it opens up your mind to think of other things, and maybe you can get solutions to whatever it is that you're going through.
Right.
Because you open up your creativity.
Absolutely, and that's all part of it, is being open to the possibility, and that's the word that really makes everything happen. And living with knowing that nothing is impossible makes everything possible.
Yes, that's true. I felt the same way. I think anything is possible. I don't think in terms of limits. I feel like it's limitless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. Somebody said. Somebody told me this not too long ago. That the sky is the limit, and I said no. There are no limits. Because after the sky, there's stuff beyond the sky. Things
right.
You don't see. You don't see what's beyond, but there are no limits. There are no limits. And it's incredible, when you start thinking in terms of that, and you start thinking differently. But most people aren't taught this, and it's something that needs to be taught to people.
Yeah, I have these words that's like, and it's in one of my inspirational videos that I've done. It's, if love had a time, a place, and a limit, it would be right now, everywhere, and forever.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I know you do speaking events, and, do most of your speaking events, are they specific topics, or is it something that, you follow your gut and your intuition?
I more or less follow my gut and intuition when I'm speaking to a group. I've spoken to business leaders, to hospice volunteers. I've spoken to young people at a youth leadership seminar. There was 700, 2,000 at that. To the suicide prevention walk, I was keynote speaker, and there were 1,500 people there. Over 1,000 people at these events, and it's where I'm guided, where people need me. I can speak to corporate audiences about the giving of customer service and how that relates to things, and these words that I have, come through in that. So I've spoken to, there's a local company that all the bus drivers that take everybody, and it's a huge busing company, and they had all the drivers there and inspired them to what is true kindness and customer service, and bringing that to how do you give back and how do you go the extra mile.
Incredible. It's, like you said, I'm like, love, love goes a long way. And just seeing people in a different way, in a different light.
Yeah, and it's not separated from your work life. It's in there. If you have a passion and you love what you do, that's part of having a great job and a great career. And so it's not so separated because you're working with people. Business is about people. It's not about business.
Yeah.
And understanding that your staff members or your team members or people that your coworkers are all going through something in this life. No one gets out unscathed, and or not dealing with the loss of somebody close to you or those things. I mean, I've had my 18-year-old niece passed away 4 years ago, suddenly in college. My best friend on this planet passed away last January, a little over a year ago. That's somebody that I've been friends with since second grade. That's a lot of years. And to be there to hold his hand in his final hour and his head and to say goodbye and have pretty deep conversations the year prior to this. When we had to take the gloves off, I asked this permission that, we're going to have to go through some things with this friendship and we're going to have to be real. Are you prepared for that? And is it okay? And he gave me the permission so we would talk. And, it's pretty difficult subjects, but we got through it.
Incredible, I so amazing, we as human beings, we're human beings right now, and we have this one amazing soul that, if we could each just look at each other, like you said, with love and to see that purity, it's just an incredible experience, I think, that everyone can have.
Absolutely. And, that's how you can approach life every day. And, it's not easy. I can't say I'm perfect or infallible. It's not. But it is something that takes practice, just like, playing music, or if you're going to be an Olympic athlete, they practice every day. That's what you need to do. Then you get better at it.
That is true. You have to practice it. I wake up every day. I have this thing that I practice for myself to wake up every day. And I don't know if you've ever heard the song from Pharrell Williams, the Happy Song.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I love that song. And I wake up every day, and that's the first thing that I listen to. It just sets the tone for my day. Like, how can you not wake up and be happy and be full of love listening to that song?
Yeah.
And, but like you said, it was something that I had to practice. Sometimes I would forget to listen to it, and then I do my meditation. But it is true. Everyone has to practice it, just like you see baseball players and football players and people who are in professional sports. They got to practice to, hone their craft, and we have to practice as being human beings to hone the love and to become better people.
Exactly.
It's so beautiful. Now, so if somebody, wants to get one of your books, like you have a couple books, and I want to talk about that a little bit because, you do have a couple books, and I know one of them you have on your website is a free book. What is your latest book?
Well, my latest book is Soul Ciphers, Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness. And that one, it has inspirational stories. It also has the teachings are actually in the stories, and after each of the chapters, there's 3 decodes, little simple things that I indicate. So I had many people come up to me and saying, "You seem so happy and you have a perfect life and everything. So how do you maintain that?" And I would tell them these simple things, and to me it was like saying, "Well, 1 + 1 = 2," and they'd say, "Wow, I didn't do that." So one of the decodes in my programming side, because I feel that you can reprogram yourself for happiness and change the chemistry in your mind and soul, it might be a story about sharing a smile and how it transforms somebody, but the decode would be, do you smile when you're alone? And I do, because I realize I never am. And how many people don't think about smiling when they're alone?
Very true.
So there's those pieces that, when you bring it to your conscious and, it becomes a practice item, because then I catch myself when I'm alone and I'm like, how am I? Am I smiling? Why am I not smiling? And go through those simple exercises. And when I wake up in the morning, for instance, I try to think of something that I have gratitude for before my feet hit the ground, or I'll try to think of something inspirational. And then I'll start my day. And I try to share a smile with the first person I see, which might be my wife, it could be our dog, it could be my son, it could be, somebody that's staying at our house. So, before you go out in the world and share that smile, think about those things. And so I put these little decodes, and some of them are pretty deep. They're about renewal or overcoming grief, or your black box that you have within you. Those are that what some people call the Pandora's box. They've got these deep, dark secrets, or things they're ashamed of, or things they're guilty for, or whatever. And they store them up in that box. And it's like carrying this weight around, dragging this baggage behind them.
Yeah. So true. People do that, and it's so wonderful because, I want to read it because, like I said, I'm not perfect, and I'm always open to learn and to grow, and I just thank God for people like you who have been given this gift and who are out there to help others to be able to become the person that you're meant to be, and to go through this life in love.
Yeah, and that's part of it. It's embracing the challenges and things of life and trying to get through that. So that's the journey, and ride it out to the end. That's the whole point.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Now you have a free book that you have on your website, I see. And can I ask you what that book is about?
Yeah, those are it's 80 poems that I wrote, what I consider part of my downloads, but they're poems, and a lot of people told me that when I was posting them that they use them as meditation mantras before they do their meditation or part of it. And so I compiled them all, and I can give you an example of one that's in there, but it's there's about 80 poems, and it's called Love's Awakening, a poetic journey healing human spirit. So that's all of those, and this one is I Am Love from the book, and it's a poem that is about when somebody crosses over, when you feel that loss of a loved one, because they become that love. So the poem is, I'm the gentle breeze that dances upon the ocean swells. I'm every single raindrop that fills the living wells. You may think I'm far away in heaven, but that place is in your heart. I'm always there right beside you. Nothing can keep us apart. There's no need to live in fear. There's nothing ever to fret. It's time to live outside the shadows. Time to live without regret. Every night I wrap around you. I'm there to catch your tears. Become love to comfort you for all of your remaining years.
That's so beautiful.
And I find that when both of my parents crossed over, my best friend, my niece, those are people that are very, very close to me. And I've also lost other friends or that have crossed over. But I look at it this way. I have my greatest team of supporters, cheerleaders right there with me 24/7 now. Help guide me.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that way too with my father. He passed away like 2 years ago, and he was a very wise man, and he was a Holocaust survivor, and he was one of the strongest, bravest men that I know. And whenever I'm feeling like I need to be brave or stronger, I feel his presence and
Right.
and helping me.
Yeah, and they're there smiling, and most people say, well, I can't talk to them. Or yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Say that, well, they don't reply. You're not listening. Or I don't see them. Well, you're not looking with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't feel them. Then you're losing your touch for everything, because they are leaving signs, and there's little things that happen, and they're not coincidences. I call them God incidences.
Oh, I love that. God incidences. That's a great word. I love that. No, it's true, you know. Like you said, you have to open up yourself, you know. That's very true. Now, for somebody listening right now, we have about maybe like 10 minutes left of the show. Somebody listening right now, I don't know if you feel guided to say something, because obviously we probably have a lot of people, different people listening from different backgrounds. But is there anything that you particularly want to say?
Well, the word that keeps popping in my head is beauty. And it's to understand how beautiful your soul is. And I have learned what true beauty is. And there was a family, and two young girls from the family were burned severely during a accident when they were coming back from a wedding rehearsal by a drunk driver. And the one sister was burned beyond recognition from the neck up with 5th-degree burns. And when she came back, I was only 10 years old. She was 17. And she wouldn't come out of the house. And finally, we flew this huge kite. She came out, and the string broke, and everybody went to go get the kite because it had gotten stuck in trees in the woods. And these 2 feet appeared next to me. And that's when I understood what beauty was, because I couldn't look at her at first, and then she raised my chin to her face. And I did see who she was. So understand that your beauty is within. And all I saw was her beauty at that moment.
Incredible, you know? It really is. Just really touched me. That's, I wish people could see that more in each other, as what the beauty that's within. And because beauty is from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Right.
It's very true, you know. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you so much for having me on, and I hope I touch someone's heart out there, and I can feel them, so.
Yeah. So now, for if anyone wants to get a hold of you, where are your books available? Where can someone go to get all the information about you?
Yeah, well, my website is guidetothesoul.com, and my latest book is at soulciphers.com, which there's a link from the Guide to the Soul over to that, and they're all available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can literally go into any bookstore worldwide and order the books, and they'll get them in for you. And I keep the Kindle price at, right now it's on special at 99 cents, just because I want this information just to go far and wide, and that's really what it's about.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Yeah, and there are a lot of people, especially the younger generation, who use the Kindles.
Right.
So.
Or just any electronic reader will use it. But yeah, I keep it there, and you can just instantly get it onto your device, from your phone to your iPad or your Kindle device or computer. It can be read on anything, and it's very inexpensive. I kept it that way for a reason.
Well, that's wonderful, and I hope that people will, go to your website and that they're touched. I feel like you have touched me in such an amazing way. I'm still recovering from the beginning of the show.
Well, if you go to my Facebook page and you read too many of those posts, you're going to overdose on love, and I'm not responsible for what you do. I'm just going to put that out there now.
It's the best kind of overdose.
Yeah, and I've had people yell at me, and they said, I cried all over my Kindle when I read your book, and you should put a disclaimer on it.
Oh my God. No, I just want to say something about that, is that, it's really a good thing to cry. There's tears of of joy, and then there's tears of healing. I think crying is so important because, you do have to cleanse your soul.
Yeah. Well, it's all part of, like I said, we're all equipped with everything we need, and there's a reason for all those pieces. So
yeah,
even anger fits in there somewhere. And I tell younger people, when their emotions are being wired up, that they're trying to play music, but they're missing some of the keys, or their piano's slightly out of tune. And it takes time to learn the subtleties between the notes. But I always tell them, I can hear your music. Even though you can't play it, I hear it. And that's the most important thing that somebody can say to somebody that's younger, is to understand them.
that is true. Well, wow. I'm just so touched, Robert, and I'm so happy that you came on my show, and I know that you touched so many people, and you're still touching so many people. My God, it's incredible, And hopefully one day I can meet you in person, and it's amazing.
Yeah, one of these launch parties out there for our shows coming up. So we're on iLaunch and on Hollyfield TV and BTV and cable. We got our television shows coming. So
yes, yes, absolutely, and I'm so excited about that too. And for everyone who doesn't know, Robert and I and a couple of people who are inspirational and motivational speakers, we're going to be having shows on iLaunch TV, She TV, Hollyfield TV, and we're going to be reaching the masses, and that's our message.
Yeah. And so it's beautiful. An easy way. You got Eric Zuley, who's got his whole platform there to help promote and get it far and wide. So it'll be on cable, it'll be on Roku devices, DirecTV. There's a phone app that you can get to watch the shows. So really, it reaches around the world. And I love that they're on all three platforms.
Yes, it's the TV to go app. I think it's what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The TV to go. Yeah. So everyone, just go to guidetothesoul.com, and you will be able to find all of Robert's information. And thank you so much, Robert, for coming on. And this show is archived, so if anyone wants to hear the show again, it'll be available tomorrow. And I will share it with everyone on social media. And please share it with others too who might, need to hear this. So thank you so much, Robert. Such a pleasure.
Well, thank you. I'll give you my perfect word. It's namaste. So there you go.
Thank you.
That means I recognize the light in you. That is the same light that is within me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, God bless you, and have a wonderful night.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Good night.
Night.
Well, everyone, that was Robert Clancy. Oh my gosh, incredible. Such a powerful, amazing soul, beautiful, So please go to guidetothesoul.com. You can check out all of his books, and he does have that free download, and you don't want to miss that. Beautiful. So I hope that you join me next week. Same time, Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, embrace your power, and thank you for listening. Good night.